Hi, my name's Aaron Espindola,
Hi, I'm Linda OJ.
and welcome to another episode of the Next Gen Business Podcast.
Let's go.
The Next Gen Business Podcast is produced by the Small Business Community Network. Visit them online at www.sbcncanada.org.
Hi Aaron, I'm excited for tonight because we're just going to ad-lib it and think of whatever topics we want to talk about. So I must admit, I was a bit mean when I said no. You want to talk about how difficult it was to get a job in my day all those years ago?
Well, the thing is, I wanted to bring it up just because right now in my household, I live with three other guys, and we're all getting jobs, and we're at that part in our, life where we're finishing our education, and we're at that point where we're looking at getting an actual full-time job and getting a career started. So I thought that would be a fun thing to talk about, but
Well, I mean, the difference is obviously we didn't have computers in my day. And so basically, I left school at 17. I saw a job advertised at insurance brokers. I was a secretary and I went along. I made a mess of the interview. I was very nervous when I was typing something. But, and this still this will still work today. The lady who was interviewing me, she was called Cynthia, she liked me and she wanted to give me a chance. And basically, she worked for the guy who was like the head of the whole organisation. So it worked. I got the job. I stayed there until I had children. It was a great job. So it was relatively easy in my day, I think. But today, people don't tend to stay in jobs very much, do they? They tend to move around a lot. And you don't look for an advert in the newspaper. You look on LinkedIn or your friend tells you. Is that right?
yeah, exactly. That's how I found mine. I just went in LinkedIn and I found it online. But going back to the fact that you were saying that the person really liked you as a person, I feel like that I really connected with that because currently I was looking for a job with BMO. And although I don't have a finance background, I went to school for just business management. I think someone liking you has a way more important impact on whether you get hired or not than what you're qualified for. Because at the end of the day, you can get trained on a lot of things.
This is it. And Dave, my husband and business partner, he was a guest on the show, as you know. He interviews a lot of people. He's worked a lot of corporate jobs. And it's not how clever you are. It's really not university degree or not university degree. It's how you interact with people. Are you a team person? How do you, the arguments within a team, not so much confrontation. Can you grow to trust that person or do you have a feeling about them? And this is why we started this podcast, Aaron, because we wanted your generation, any generation really, but we already network for most generations. We wanted you guys to know that yes, if people get to know you and you haven't yet found a job and they know you're looking for a certain job, they are bound to think about you because they like you, they trust you and they want to help you. And you said it, you can learn on the job, you've got the confidence. I think so. And your generation has a lot more confidence than my generation, I think, because you've literally been brought up in the public eye, haven't you? Whether it's texting each other, videos.
Yeah, I think for my generation, we have all those features. But I think also that from interviewing all these small business owners and the way they want their businesses to run and the people they want to be part of it, it's very customer oriented. So having the right team with you, making sure that those people have those qualities that will make sure that your company looks good and talks to their customers in a good manner. I think that's a really important part. The people skill part is extremely important in business. And yeah, like you said, that's why we started this podcast, to tell our viewers and our listeners to hey, yes, you can have the degree, you can have the diploma, you can get all the certifications and all that, but if you're not good with people, you're probably not going to do that well in business, just because it's so people oriented. It's not about, it is about what you know, but it's more about who you know.
And if you're shy, and don't really like interacting with people, I'm shy, but I come out of my shell when I do something like this. And also, as you know, I went on to start my own 2 businesses with no college degree or anything. And it's because people like me. I'm honest with people. I've interviewed so many what you would call famous people. And it really, makes me feel good to know that they trusted me to interview them or go on my TV show. And it's because of my personality. The other thing is, when you're with somebody in a work environment and you kind of, to and fro in, if the other person isn't forthcoming and you feel that you're doing all the work, it can create tension. And it may not be that the other person's not doing as much work as you, but maybe they are too scared to ask for help. So these different, whether it's generations and cultures, whatever it is, somebody like you might notice that somebody needs a bit of help, where somebody else might just say to the manager, that person's lazy. Because I think you've got a good insight, haven't you?
That does play a big role, making sure that you have the right people around you, and that knowing that not all personalities are going to be open about if they need help or not. So I guess if as a business owner, like if I have an employee that needs help, you just have to make sure that you ask and be like, hey, are you okay doing this job? That's what we did. Like when we did like some of their home renovation stuff, there was a couple of guys that didn't know what they were doing, but we'd have to check in on them a couple of times and be like, hey, so listen, are you guys comfortable with this? Is this okay? Like if it's too much, just let us know. We can not do this or something. And just making sure, because some people's personalities are just kind of quiet. So they won't really say how they're feeling and then come to find they're getting upset or something. So
funny story. My mom was lovely. But my parents were very strict, and they said, when you leave school, you've got to get a job. But before you leave school, basically you should get a part-time job. And I didn't want a part-time job, not because I was lazy, but I was shy. And so I did get a shop in a shop. I did get a job in a big department store. And they wanted me to measure material and stuff like that. And that's never been my forte. And so I stayed 2 weeks. And then I left, and my mum said, why did you leave? I go, I didn't like the job. But I wasn't brave enough to even tell my mum that I felt awkward because I couldn't cut the material properly. I was very shy and didn't have a lot of self-esteem. And I think this is where it comes into play. So you're going to work in a bank, I presume. And it's like we went to our local bank a couple of weeks ago and I got the night wrong. It was the wrong night for the appointment. And I said to Dave, I didn't check in with the lady at the door because she was busy. And Dave says, do we have to? So I said, yeah. So he went to check in with her and she came across and she was so helpful. And she goes, oh, I've looked in the calendar, it's tomorrow night, I'm so sorry. And then she goes, but you look so pretty, why not go and have a drink and enjoy the night? And she was so lovely. Customer service. And that made a difference to me as a customer. But when you're in the work environment and you're working with teams, I know people, whether it's in a recession or during COVID, and they haven't been laid off because they do a good job making everybody else feel comfortable and their face fits. They may not be essential to the job or as good as other people, but don't you find you want to hang out with people you trust and feel comfortable with in a personal scenario?
Yeah, I feel like that's a really big part of having a good friend group is making sure that all the personalities kind of go together and they complement each other properly, because you don't want to have someone that's really outgoing with someone that's like gets all bothered and stuff like that. Sometimes that doesn't work too well because they don't express how they feel. So in a business environment as well, like you want to make sure that you have around the same personality type just so that they can all get along properly and make sure that
No, you're going completely against what I was saying. So a good idea would be, I had to do a workshop many years ago and it was my first workshop, and so I chose the 4 faces of Fred. I know the women work in the corporate role, but this was just a very quick thing I was doing. So I chose 4 different personalities. Obviously, they all had different names. So I chose, the accountant type of person who loves, numbers and stuff like that. And I chose the one who was more in the scientific area. And I chose 2 others, and they're all different personalities. And when I did the team building presentation at this organisation, they were having problems working together because of the different personalities, because of the different work ethics. And now, in this day and age, we have more people from different countries and cultures coming to live in Canada. So, no, that's not what I meant, that you're going to all work with the same personality type, because I find that everybody has a skill set. So what should happen in that kind of situation, Aaron, not your friends, but the workplace, is that either the manager or somebody in the organisation says, well, you're all different personalities, let's have a chat about how you can work together, because we all have different work ethics, don't we? Or you might do one job one way, but another person who thinks differently might do it another way. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, that definitely makes sense if you're trying to be all productive, but wouldn't it be fun to just have a group? Wouldn't it be fun to just have a group of people with the same personality? Everyone's just cracking jokes after each other, just having a blast. I'm just kidding, of course, but
say if you're in a techie environment, and I don't know the exact name for these techie guys, but they all, go into the office and they're all talking to each other about the latest widget or the latest, what would you say, program that they're all going to come up with. So yeah, they're laughing, they're joking, they're working together because they're all like techie guys. But let's take a bank for an instance. You're going to have lots of different personalities in the bank. So, if you are going to go and work in the bank, learn to work with the different personalities. And yeah, you can have a laugh and a joke, obviously. Sorry I interrupted you. What were you going to say?
No, that's pretty much what I was going to say. I was just kind of just joking around about that part. But yeah, I learned it in class too, where the different personalities type, you want to have them in your group so that you're, I guess, more efficient working together, and you can't have the same personality types working together because there's a lot of conflict there. But in a friend group, it's pretty fun.
After lots of problems moving to Canada, which is in one of my books, but I'm not going to bore you with it now. I worked 3 different jobs, and one of the jobs was a shoe store. And this was going back 20 years now. So I got the job again because I had a smile. The manager said, you've got a nice smile, we're going to give you the job. That would be frowned upon today. I'm guessing they don't say that to males. But anyhow, I got the job. It wasn't a very good job. But there was a lot of the family business relatives, working there. And they were younger than me and a lot of the other staff. And they thought they were better than us. And there was quite a few times I wanted to leave that job and tell them where to put the job, and basically I couldn't because I needed the money, and I was really good at what I did, but that didn't count in this job. So that's the kind of thing that you've got to look out for. If the culture within a work environment is such that whether it's family members or people who are cliquey and they're not giving everybody the same choices or chance, if you can get another job, I had no choice at that time. The only reason I left is because I had cancer again, and I never went back. Then I started my own businesses. But that's another problem, thinking that everybody's going to like you and work well with you. I'm sure you, being at college, know that you have the popular people, you have the shy people. You're probably one of the popular ones. But not everybody likes each other, do they, and helps each other. That can happen in the workplace, unfortunately.
Yeah, I have my one friend. He used to work at a publishing company in Toronto, and he had to walk away because the work environment there was kind of toxic, and he wasn't happy at that point. So you got to make sure that even whatever job you do take, just as long as you're happy doing it. And it's different because sometimes for part-time jobs and you're just trying to make some money as you're doing your study, sometimes those jobs aren't going to be that fun, but they pay the bills, so you kind of have to go with that. But when it comes to careers, sometimes people confuse those with the part-time jobs, or if they're not happy and they're going to stay doing that. But if you just do that with your career job, then you're probably just not going to be happy for a long time, I feel like.
A lot of again, back to the tech industry, especially certain areas of the tech industry, because there's not enough people doing a particular skill set, they can pick and choose. And I dislike the ones that, go through all the interviews, and it's a lot of work for the HR and everything, and then they take the job till another better offer comes along, probably more money. I dislike those kind of people, but, I've been told that's normal in the tech industry because they can pick and choose. But I wouldn't want to be the business, the employer that keeps having to look for people. So I'm guessing you've been offered the job at the bank and you will be starting work there. This is definite now.
Yeah, well, they're doing some background stuff, but I mean, I should be starting this week, but I don't know. I'll keep everyone posted.
Okay, well, good luck.
It's funny that you mentioned that there's people like looking for other jobs, because like as I have this job already and I'm supposed to start, I'm also still looking for other jobs.
Because in case you don't get that job, or
no, like just as better opportunities, pretty much. Because I know in a banking, like I love banking and all that, but at the same time, I don't want to like close the doors like opportunity to other industries just because I got the first job at the banking one. I want to see if maybe I'll enjoy a different one more. So I am still applying to other jobs.
Okay. I think that's okay to keep your options open in case you don't get this job, but you may be missing an opportunity that, and I don't want to sway you in any way, but the person who may offer you the job, you may not fulfill the requirement, who knows, but they're offering you the job because they see some potential in you, and I guess you'll never know if it's going to be a fit for you until you do start it. But as a mom to four kids who are all working now, please give the job a chance. If you know, please give it a chance and see if you like it. Yes, it's good to look for opportunities, but I've heard the bank that you may be working at has those opportunities. Is it primarily that you want the opportunities to earn more, or just a different approach to banking, do you think?
I think my opportunity that I'm looking for is more or less growing with the company, so it would be making more money. Just because the other jobs, like for example, one job that I'm looking at applying to is like being a marketing agent for Danby, which is located in Guelph, and I'm like, oh, their headquarters here, like that'd be an awesome job to get into. It's the same field, but like it's just different. So I'm like, oh, maybe I'll enjoy that. Like, who knows?
Well, I know Jim well. He's a lovely guy. He's been on my TV show and I've interviewed him. All I can say is he's a fantastic employer, because basically he has a lot of different cultures. He has a lot of different people working for him, and he kind of really relates to them, and he's a really fair person. But I'm going to be really rude now and say, what kind of marketing? What do you know about marketing?
For me? I mean, like it's the thing with like my clothing brand and stuff, like building Instagram pages. I'm good at doing that. The problem is I don't sometimes have enough content for the Booty Beach stuff, which like I want to do a lot more. Like I want to be posting a lot more videos and photos and all that stuff, but it's because I know I'll be able to build the audience for that, and I'm super passionate about that, but I just don't have the money to pay for those products yet.
This is why I always say, and I'm not just pointing the finger at you, but I always tell my clients, if you're looking to hire somebody, whether it's contractor, or whether it's to do your sales or your marketing, Google the hell out of them and make sure they've done it for themselves, because in your case you'd be employed by them. So I would imagine the last work experience you've got and all the rest of it, which is great, you've got a lot of experience. But a lot of people start businesses or try and get jobs and they have no experience, but they think, well, it's a fun job with a lot of money. But in this case, a big organisation like Danby, they want you to actually, or whoever gets the job, to actually, do such a good job that the marketing relates to more sales. So it's going to be a hard job if you are able to get it, or if anybody gets it. It's not just going to be one of those, okay, so I'm good at Instagram kind of thing. It sounds harsh, doesn't it? But basically, sometimes the job opportunities. Somebody said to me recently, actually, one of my clients said, I think I'm ditching my business and I'm going to start this job because it's good money and it's easy to do. And then I looked at the job requirements and I go, if that's easy, I'm Father Christmas. Just be sure if you apply for any jobs, though, that you have got experience in more than one area. So what other marketing things have you done, do you think, to give you the skill set?
Well, I have like a a good background in doing all of like Google AdWords, doing all of like the SEO optimization so that your website shows up, which all falls into marketing. I done like Facebook campaigns and Instagram campaigns. I've also done like TikTok campaigns as well. But I always have that one underlying issue, which is just I run into money problems. So I can't execute it as much as I want to. And the sales that I am getting are just paying for like just the basic stuff, because right now my overhead's way too high for maintaining my business at
That's a good point, yeah, for our listeners, isn't it? They think it's easy, and you're actually, have established a fact. Now, I'll ask this question of our viewers as well, but I'll ask it of you, and our listeners. Do you think you put 101% into your marketing and think of other ways to market yourself if you haven't got the money to spend on the ads and stuff like that? What do you do yourself to do it for free? So, i.e., what ways have you come up with that don't cost any money, do you think?
So the way I've been doing it is kind of more or less like organic growth. So that's just posting. It's really time consuming, and you have to make a lot of content because not everything's going to like do well because you're not paying for it. So that would be a good way. And then also word of mouth, telling your friends and being like, hey, follow my Instagram, or just whoever you meet, be like, hey, I own a company and like you should check it out and all that stuff.
So what tips do you think you want to leave with our listeners about when they are looking for a job? I found one in a newspaper years ago. You found one from LinkedIn. So any other ideas?
Like I feel like get a job that gives you opportunity to grow. That's like a big part for me. Like I wouldn't mind working for pretty cheap if I have the opportunity to learn something and grow and become a better person and a just overall well-rounded business person. That's why I took my sales job, even though it wasn't the best pay. Like it showed me how to talk to people, and I was pretty comfortable after that, like selling things. So I guess making sure that you get a job that like gets your bills paid, but also like it teaches you a little bit on the side.
Those are good. The only thing I would say is, unless you've really, really got to do a job that you don't like I did 3 jobs I didn't like all those years ago, try and get a job that you're really interested in and think about, how you can better that job. And our daughter's a really good example of that, but I won't go into that today. But normally today when you are hired to do a job, they often expect you to come up with some ideas how you could better the job or add more to it. So that's my tip. And I'm going to say goodbye first as normal, because then you do all the lovely goodbyes for us, don't you, Aaron?
So it's going to be a goodbye for me as well. But before that, just for any of our viewers or listeners, make sure to check out our YouTube channel. It's a Next Gen Business Podcast, as well as our Instagram. Make sure to follow, subscribe, and like. Also leave a comment, because that helps our algorithm. And if you want to be a guest on one of our episodes, just make sure to send us a DM on Instagram. We can get you in on, usually we do our episodes Monday. So if you want to be a guest, just let us know. And then also check us out on our website, which is www.nextgenbusinesspodcast.com. And thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening. Check us out at www.nextgenbusinesspodcast.com.